Boredom is a tool for inner peace. Now, I came across this subject when the weekend came around. It's a Sunday, and I was trying to figure out what to do during this weekend. Usually, I have plans, sometimes I go bouldering, sometimes I lay out a few options for myself, say my hobbies, for example. I went through a lot of my hobbies, I went from one to another, and by the end of it, I was feeling very unsatisfied. Like, I had a bunch of things that I did. I felt very productive, but I was still very bored. Like, I could have done more, something more stimulating. So I came across this feeling and I tried to analyze it a bit, as I do, because I'm a very analytical person and I like to break things down to a fault, at least to the best of my ability. So I was looking into what boredom really is. So, boredom is the feeling of having nothing to do. And I came across this feeling, and at first it felt very negative. Obviously, living in a very digital age where there's constant consumption of media and constant stimulation, distraction, boredom is something that my brain, especially, is very unfamiliar with. Granted, I doom scroll and I'm basically chronically online. So, at first glance, this feeling is negative, but looking at it at face value, it's really just it's a neutral feeling. It's a feeling of having nothing to do, and that inherently isn't, it isn't negative. It's just a lack of stimulation for my brain. It got me reflecting on moments of boredom that I've experienced. Most times when I experience this type of boredom, I've kind of used it as a tool for reflection and those moments of stillness, of quiet, of reflection, of being present and being aware of just your existence. I would use these moments of boredom like that, but it didn't start off like this. It was something that I gradually built as a habit. Now I could definitely say that boredom has worked for the better. It's a neutral feeling, but it's given me so many positive outlooks on life. And so I've come to ask myself, when do I experience these moments of boredom? What do I do? Initially, when I would combat with my boredom, I would go straight to my phone. I would pick up whatever closest device I had and I would feed my brain constant stimulation and distraction and those quick dopamine hits that you get when you're doom scrolling. That's what I was always going for. Obviously, that's not a good thing, and I recognize that now. The aspect of boredom, it is a feeling, but it's also a tool. If you've ever heard of the saying, emotions are tools, when you experience an emotion, it's notifying to your body that you're feeling a certain way. Maybe you're getting angry over something because it's crossing your boundaries. Or in this case, boredom is signaling to your brain that it wants more stimulation. Viewing boredom in this type of way, where it's a tool, where it's a notification to your body. You have this choice. Do you reach for your device? Do you reach for any close stimulation that you could use to distract yourself? Or what I've learned to do is look inwards. For me, my days are generally jam-packed with a lot of things to do. I work a 9 to 5. I travel for a while because traffic is bad. And when I get home, I stimulate myself with devices, with doom scrolling, or even just with my hobbies. Sometimes it doesn't leave space for you to digest your feelings, digest your thoughts. Now, this definitely isn't good in the long run. If you're not letting your body digest, letting your brain digest these thoughts and feelings, you'll feel like you're in a constant state of anxiety and overwhelm. So, back to the boredom, this is what I've learned, using boredom as a tool, as a kind of way to notify myself that, I can choose to stimulate myself, pause, or give myself some time to digest, and then maybe after I digest those feelings, after I digest those thoughts, I can go back to my usual program of doom scrolling. On the same note, becoming comfortable with this type of boredom, recognizing it as a tool to look inwards, as well as becoming content with the boredom, content with the peace. I've noticed that although I may feel bored at times, at least I'm feeling very peaceful. There's no dramas, there's no conflict, This is also very good because without this conflict, without this drama, it gives me a chance to reflect on where I'm at in my life. It gives me a chance to reflect on my present moment and to really appreciate these like mundane moments because, I'm lucky to be able to feel bored. So yeah, this is my take on boredom. Boredom is really just a tool that you can use for inner peace. And you could also use it to appreciate the small things in life. And in the end, it's just a gift that you can give to yourself if you chose it. So today is the second day that I'm using a mini essay to explore an idea that I've had in my mind. Not really had in my mind, it's just kind of like popped up in my head today. But I was able to explore it, and this is what I came to. I feel like these mini essays are pretty good for getting your thoughts across the page. Of course, there's journaling, but this, I feel like I'm able to research and put more thought into it. Putting it into like an essay structure, I'm able to review it, and ultimately, I feel like my brain is expanding. So, this is good. This is very good. That will be me. Have a good night.